Death from Above 1979 is for lovers. Album review, let's talk about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about my boys, Death from Above 1979's new album. If you don't know these guys, they are dance punk legends out of Canada. Jesse Keeler, Sebastian Granger. And in 2004, when I was a teenager, these guys absolutely stole my heart with one of the sweatiest, grimiest, inescapably catchy rock debuts I'd ever heard in You're a Woman, I'm a Machine. It is a cult classic of an album that deserves that title and everything for it because, honestly, this is one of the most badass debuts I've ever heard. Not only that, but tracks like Romantic Rights, Black History Month, Blood on Our Hands are some of the best tracks that the band has ever put out. It would be a whopping 10 years until we'd hear from them again with The Physical World, which was okay. I mean, no, really, it's fine. I actually think it's better than a lot of people think it is. However, my problem is that this was 10 years and a lot of changed since they initially released their debut, and I just personally felt like I needed a little bit more from them. And a couple of years later, they returned once again with Outrageous Now, an album that honestly, at first, I was very lukewarm on. I thought some of the songwriting was spotty at first, and I wasn't into the bulkier, more hard rock inspired production. However, in the years since, I've actually come around to enjoy the bulk of that album. I think it's actually one of their better ones. Now, the duo are back with their first album in a few years, and the one track that they have released from this is one of the best rock tracks I've heard all year. Let's chat about this thing. Now, you know what, right off the bat, let's not even dive too far into this. 1+1, one of the earlier tracks on this album, like I said, I think it's one of the best rock tracks released this year. It's got this big, meaty riff and that great, sweaty atmosphere of their early singles. It also has a ridiculous amount of swagger, much like the material on You're a Woman, I'm a Machine. All around, this track is fantastic. It's catchy, it's well performed, it's explosive. This is where I want to hear them right now. However, the big news here is they are using more synths, which I know is not going to be for everybody. But for the most part, I think they work with it pretty well. Free Animal right off the bat just grooves so freaking hard. The grooves on most of this album, they are just as inescapable as anything else that DFA has put out. This beat just constantly sounds like it's getting shot out of a damn cannon. And there is a rawness to this track that I can't say no to. Like, I don't know what it is, but something about listening to Death from Above 1979 just makes me feel like I am there. Like, I am in that studio with them, or I am at a show of theirs, just in the front row. This track just goes so freaking hard. It makes me want to pump some iron or something. I love it. Then we have N.Y.C. Power Elite Part 1, and honestly, I have not heard a catchy tracks like this in years from them. This is brilliant. This is so infectious. It gets inside your head so quickly. It is rowdy as hell. It is upbeat and one of the most punk things they've done in years. I love just as this track goes on, it just seems to get more and more out of control. Hell yes. And part 2 is pretty good too. I'm actually surprised at just how noisy and abrasive this track comes off. And it completely caught me off guard at first. At first, I wasn't even feeling this. It almost sounds like that Brian Chippendale and Ty Segall project from last year. Like, it is wild, but at its core, it is a Death from Above 1979 track. It has that big, meaty groove to it. But let me just say this. If this isn't for you, and this album isn't for you, I get it. Because, let me tell you, there are some tracks here where I do worry about Death from Above a little bit. Modern Guy, as a start, was disheartening for me. I thought I wasn't going to like the rest of the album. I feel like, personally, this isn't the best intro to this much cleaner sound from the duo. This is way too much of just throwing it into the fire. Like, I feel like 1+1 would have been a much better album intro. Like, the riff here is sloppy, the production isn't that good either, and Jesse's vocals by the end, good lord, those are bad. I mean, I don't think it's personally, like, the worst thing here, but there's also so much better material here. Totally wiped out, though. What is going on here? This is my least favorite track by far. Some of these backing vocals are really obnoxious and goofy. I don't mind a little campiness and cheesiness in rock. As a matter of fact, I usually applaud it. But this is just so goofy, and you know what, the verses here aren't that up to snuff either, and the production isn't that good either. This is just not where I see liking Death from Above's music in 2021. I think overall this is a good Death from Above 1979 album. Not a great one, not an excellent one, not a return to form either. It's a very good one. Like Glass Homes, it's a very niche track. Like, if you don't like this more synth-driven sound of theirs that they dig into from time to time, this is going to be the track that make or breaks you. As a matter of fact, I think the synths are just plain ugly at points, but there's a lot to like on this track as well. Like the sort of punky lyrics, the angsty attitude here, and the performances are pretty solid. More than anything, it's the sluggish pace on this track that really just gets me out of the groove. Ironically, though, the duo do win me back with some of the later, slower tracks. Now, this is something that they have toyed with in the past, just a little bit. And call me crazy, but I don't really hate Love Letter at all. As a matter of fact, I think it comes off pretty well. It's got a steaminess to it. There is, once again, tons of swagger. I'm not sure why I sound so shocked saying that. I just didn't think that this could come off as good as it does. But be forewarned, you may totally hate this track because we are far from home with Death from Above right now. But I personally am okay with this. And I think Mean Streets is even better. Love this album or hate this album, you can't really say that Death from Above aren't trying a lot of new things. And once again, with this track, if you're not vibing on this, I get it. But the way this sort of swanky piano ballad transitions to a more, by the books Death from Above track is actually pretty fascinating. There's just such a genuine sense of cool here. But No War as a finale kind of let me down. This was the culmination of a lot of things about this album that I thought was just very average. The synths are pushing it here. This is not the best synth work that I've heard on this album. And not only that, but as far as a slower tune goes, there are a couple of other tracks here that are so much better than this. I mean, it does have a lot of swagger to it. It's very passionately performed. I, once again, don't think it's all for nothing. But overall, I kind of wish this album was a little bit longer. I wish it ended on a better note. It just kind of leaves me, I don't know, just wanting a little bit more at the end of the day. There's certainly a lot to really love here. I think this is a good album from Death from Above, but I wish it was a little bit longer. I wish they maybe thought about some of the synth work a little bit more, and I just wish it kind of ended on a more concrete note. But still, go out of your way to check this out. There's some really great grooves on here, and Death from Above still write this great, sweaty, throttling, insanely catchy dance punk, and I needed that right now. It's certainly cool. Feeling a strong 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.